Deputy Jones, thank you. In the Murray case, Dr. Murray is present as before, with counsel as before. The people by counsel as before. Ms. Lee once again is on the witness stand. All jurors and alternates are present as before. Again, good morning to everybody. Ms. Lee, good morning again.
Good morning.
Feeling a little bit better?
Yes, and thank you for...
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Just sit back, please, and relax and follow the other admonishments. And once again, do you acknowledge you're still under oath?
Yes.
And still sworn to tell the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. We're going to have a resumption of direct examination. Mr. Chernoff, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Lee, you never did tell us, how did you get into this nutrition consulting and nutritional business?
I got into the business. I had taken classes to the Clayton School, which was an online program in the 80s, and obtained my PhD in nutrition and holistic medicine in the 80s, and that's how I got into the business. I also attended many courses and classes through ACAM, which is the American Academy of Advancement in Medicine, many classes where they teach you more in depth on IV nutrition. I recently attended a course through another compounding pharmacy. They teach classes on IV nutrition also. So I've been certified in IV nutrition through the top major schools in advancement in medicine.
Are you a big believer in holistic medicine?
I certainly am. I wouldn't be here.
I'm sorry, what was your last comment?
I wouldn't be here if I didn't believe in it. Health-wise myself, I'm sorry.
Oh, I understand. Tell us why you're a big believer in holistic medicine.
I'm a big believer in holistic medicine, and one reason is because I have had medical challenges myself. I'm currently a grandmother of 8. Because I do what I do, it's anti-aging, and it keeps you feeling well. As I was able to bounce back here like I did. At age 7, I was scheduled to have both my legs amputated from eczema, and I have a great passion for people who have problems with eczema. And at age 7, I wanted to, because there was one doctor when I was ill, out of a team of 7, who stood out and said they were not going to amputate my legs. And I always felt from that time on, I want to be able to give back to others what this doctor, who was a physician, gave back to me. So I kind of started my journey in wanting to be a blessing and help others. And then I've been in 2 comas in the past. You know, the last coma was in 1992. And after that, I said I really am going to do more and more research, because I personally don't feel anyone should have to suffer or be ill. And I know wholeheartedly that you don't have to. So in my practice, the one thing that we do is put God first.
Ms. Lee, I would like to talk a little bit about April of 2009.
Yes.
Are we okay with doing that?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
Mr. Chernoff, I think we're having a mic problem. What else is new around here? So once again, Deputy Jones, please.
Want me to tap it, Jason?
I'm expecting an internal solar eclipse, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
Okay, let's go back to April of 2009. Okay.
Yes.
May I show you a part of your medical records? Judge, would it be okay if I showed Ms. Lee part of her medical records? I believe that's where we ended off last time.
Mr. Walgren?
No objection, Your Honor.
Certainly. Just let counsel know.
I'm going to show her the 19th too, Judge. Okay.
Yes, please.
I want to show you April 12th, which is part of your medical records. Does that look familiar to you?
Yes,
Do you
I
have
have
that?
it right here. I'm ready.
Okay. And you have April 19th?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Very
I'm
good.
ready.
Thank you. When you were testifying yesterday.
Yes.
Yesterday. You were talking about Easter Sunday, and we were talking about you spending the night at Michael Jackson's house. And I want to kind of clear the dates up. I want to make sure we get the dates right.
Yes,
Okay.
and so do I. Thank you.
Okay. April 12th was an Easter Sunday, is that right?
Yes.
Or at least on your records you show it's an Easter Sunday.
Yes.
And you went out to Michael Jackson's house,
Yes.
and he told you that he needed products for sleep, but without specifying those products. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And then on the 19th, you went out again to his house?
Yes.
Okay. A week later, that was also a Sunday?
Yes, it was.
It was. And this was a morning appointment,
Yes.
and he told you again, I just can't sleep.
Well, I was actually there on the 19th of the morning is to prepare a smoothie for him and to give him a B12 shot, and that's in my notes.
Okay. And what did he tell
And
you?
he did bring up the fact that he's having a lot of difficulty sleeping.
Okay. And then he brought up the idea of you to come and stay with him that night,
Yes.
and you agreed
Yes.
to do that. And he wanted you to do that, he said, because he wanted to show you that he was unable to sleep.
Yes.
And he told you that he had sort of a maybe 2 to 3 hour pattern of sleep, and then he would wake up.
Yes.
Is that what he told you?
Yes, he did.
Okay. And you did stay there that
Yes,
night?
I did.
At some point during the evening, we really didn't nail down the time that you went up to the room, but would it be fair to say it was sometime after 11?
Yes.
Okay. And you reviewed your medical records?
Yes, I have.
Okay. Okay, great. You also, at some point during that period of time, after you went up to his room, he addressed with you this issue about sleep again, did he not?
Yes, he did.
And he talked to you about his need to be knocked out, his need to use a particular drug?
If we can go back a little bit, I'm sorry, on the 19th, before I went to see him that night, I actually saw him that morning.
Right, I believe that you did say that.
Okay.
And is there something about that you'd like to add, Ms. Lee?
Yes, because it was the morning. No, I've covered it. I'm sorry. Thank you.
Okay, okay. Well, just stop me anytime if there's something I leave out, okay?
Okay.
That evening when you went up to his room after 11, was there at some point that Michael Jackson discussed the need for a particular drug or desire for a particular drug?
Yes,
Okay, and what drug was that?
it was Depivan.
Diprovan.
You know, really, I still need to go back because that happened that morning. Gotta get thrown up in timing like this. Depivan came up actually in the daytime because it was the 19th in the daytime. In the morning is when he brought it up, and we went sort of back and forth about it because I didn't know what it was.
Was that morning he brought it up?
The 19th.
Okay. You didn't know what Diprovan was?
No, I did not.
Okay. And then he asked you to come back that night?
Yes.
Okay. Did he further discuss what Diprovan was with you or why he thought he needed that on the 19th, that morning?
Well, can I back up a little bit, please?
Yeah.
Well, no, there's a question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So
Okay, please.
you can
I'm
answer
sorry.
that question, and then counsel can go further. So do you want the question re-asked, or can you answer?
Yes, please. Can you?
Was there a conversation that morning about Diprovan? Did you have a conversation with Michael Jackson?
Yes.
Would you like to tell us, please, what that conversation was about? What you talked about?
The conversation, when he asked me, he said, I have a lot of problems sleeping. The only medication that really helps me to fall off to sleep right away is Depivan.
Did he tell you why he had trouble sleeping? Did he ever tell you about that?
We went through, during the time we had spoke about just about everything possible that was natural to help him to sleep. And Also during this time, I discussed with him, sleep hygiene. This is why he made a comment about coming back that night. Because I said, well, maybe your room is too much lighting. Maybe you have too much frequency, electronic frequency or frequency around your head, which will also interfere with sleep. And I said, I need to see if you have, a phone near your head, too much lighting, too much interference with the outside environment. And so basically wanted to deal with, see what's going on with sleep hygiene. I also had a videotape that was from one of the doctors at a seminar I had to attend on sleep studies and sleep hygiene, and I had taken that with me too, and I wanted him to see, and that's kind of referenced in my notes also.
Ms. Lee, I want to back up and re-ask the question. Did he tell you why he was unable to sleep when you had this conversation on the morning of the 19th?
He did not tell me why he could not sleep. He just had problems sleeping.
Okay. The video that you're referencing, that you talked about, did you bring that on the 19th, or did you bring that later?
I brought that later.
Okay. So to characterize your conversation with Michael Jackson, it was, I can't sleep, I need Diprovan. You then went into possible reasons why he couldn't sleep, right?
Yes.
And the reason for that is you wanted to try to help him.
Exactly.
Right? Did he seem pretty? What was his? How did he appear to you when he told you he needed Diprovan? Did he seem desperate? Did he seem matter of fact? What was his emotion that he was portraying when he said that?
His emotion, because he was sitting very close to me.
How close? How close?
From about here to where her computer is sitting, so it wasn't
Okay.
that far away.
Just
3
the two?
Thank you.
3 feet? Just the two of you?
Yes.
Okay.
And he looked at me and he said, I have a lot of difficulty sleeping. I've tried everything, and what I need is something that's going to help me fall asleep right away. And then he went more into, the only thing that would do that is Diprovan.
When he told you that, did you know what Diprovan was?
No, I did not.
Never heard of it?
Never.
Okay. Was that a concern to you, this conversation, him telling you this?
Yes, it was a concern.
Did you further have during the conversation, did you believe that he had received Diprovan in the past?
Well, I didn't know what it was, so I didn't know if he had received it in the past.
Did he seem to have a familiarity with it?
Yes.
So you eventually agreed to come back that night, is that right? Did you agree to
Yes.
come back that night? Okay. And in the interim, you researched what it was, isn't that right?
Yes.
Okay. To learn what it was.
Yes.
And you called doctor?
Yes.
And was that the doctor you're associated with?
No, I associate with a lot of doctors, so I called, because it was on a Sunday. I didn't call the doctor that's on the paperwork there, because it's hard to reach him. He's usually in church on Sundays. I did call someone who was a physician, and I asked him, what is Diprovan? And he explained to me what it was. It was an anesthetic used to, for surgery, sometimes used in ICU. And I said, so it's never used at home? He said, absolutely not. And so I...
Did you do more than just talk to this doctor?
No, that was it. He just told me what it was, and I was off the phone with it.
Okay. Then, armed with that information, you went to talk to Michael Jackson?
Yes.
And what time did you go back to the house on the 19th of April?
Well, can I just say this first?
You can answer the question. What time did you go back to the house?
I was still at the house.
Oh, when you were making the phone call?
Yes.
And where was Michael Jackson when you made the phone call?
Michael Jackson was in his bedroom. I stepped out of the bedroom and went outside to call the doctor because I had kind of a poor cell phone, and so I had to step outside to make the